Magana umaga po. Good morning po. Ohayo gozaimasu. So, Honorable Secretary, Soridam, ASEC Road, directors, friends, colleagues from academia, public sectors, and private sectors as well. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak in front of such a distinguished friends. My name is Atsushi Yamanaka. I'm a senior advisor for JICA International Cooperation Agencies on digital transformation. You know JICA, right? Oh, great. So, we are not only actually building the highways, subways, the airport, and so on and so forth. We actually do a lot of other things as well. Capacity buildings, and also digital technology for development is something that we are actually spearheading right now. So, just as a JICA at a glance, right? So, not only we work in Philippines, we work in 139 countries and regions. We have offices in 96, and our portfolio in Philippines is one of the biggest, actually. The Metro project in Manila is actually the second biggest loan portfolio. I didn't know that JICA currently owns. Hopefully, it's going to actually ease the traffic here. But more importantly, that kind of physical infrastructure actually brings out a lot of data, right? So can we actually utilize the data that these physical infrastructures actually produces so that we could not only enhance that physical infrastructures, but could we come up with different services, different use cases? That's where we really started in terms of digital transformations with JICA. So today, I would like to actually talk about this 1, 2, 3, and then maybe if you have a little bit more time, I can talk about some of the JICA's initiatives, apart from GATES, that's our signature project actually with DOST right now. So can we talk about a little bit about lesson learned from, since I told you that I've been actually doing for 30 years. I can't believe I'm saying that I'm doing this 30 years. I feel so old about this. So some of the lessons learned from these experiences, not only with JICA, but I've been actually doing with ASEC Road. I was with UNDP before as well. These are some of the lessons learned that I believe is very pertinent here in Philippines as well. All years, we talked about the importance of making sure whatever the initiatives that we're doing is going to be anchored to the national priorities or national strategies and real-life problems as well, right? We are not doing this for digital for the sake of digital or AI for the sake of AI, right? These are the tools that we need to utilize to solve the real-life problems. So that is the most important part. So we have to keep reminding ourselves, because we tend to actually go to the, in a way, okay, can we do something with AI? Or can we do something with digital? That's not how it should be, right? So that is something that we need to be really keep in mind ourselves whenever we actually going to embark on the AI or digital-based initiatives. Another thing, what is very important is it must be built onto the strong public digital foundations, be it in the data, be it in the human capacity, be it in the institutions. We really need to make sure that we need to have this strong digital foundation. So this is the reason why the DOST Gates is critical, because that actually gives a critical digital public infrastructure, especially in the data point. And the institution and the people like you must be also part of this foundations. Otherwise, none of the project is going to work very well. Another thing is you need to invest in the people, institution, and ecosystems as a whole as well. Yes? Of course, this is the reason why we're here, right? Investing in the people and also investing in the institutions. Now we are actually making sure we are the ecosystem. And that's very, very important. Because without these critical elements, without critical environment, things will not be successful. And we've seen so many failures, and I have to attest myself that I was culpable of many of the failures I've been doing in the last 30 years. So these are the very, very important foundations that we need to really think about. And also the partnership. And I'm really glad and actually very honored that I actually was chosen as a partner in crime. For many other international organizations or development partners to speak in front of you like this. But partnership is very important. Partnership, not only partners, international partners like us, but partners within the communities, private sectors, academia, public sectors, among yourself. You need actually to tango, right? You need actually the partners to make sure that we can succeed. And that is really important. And without that, we cannot scale, right? We are always looking at the POC without scaling. And then 30 years, if I learned one thing in 30 years, it's very difficult to scale, right? It's very, very difficult from the pilot to actually make the mainstreaming and then making sure that actually have the effect which we really want, global or the national and the global effect or the impact of it. That's very, very difficult without this partnership. And now we're talking about AI, right? And AI particularly, we cannot do this alone. We really need to make sure that all parties concerned, that we need to make sure that we come together and we set the goals and we basically work diligently for that particular goals as well. And then in order to do that, we need to trust each other, right? So ensuring trust, inclusions, and adaptive governance as well is very important. Secretary Solidan talked about the governance issues. And governance is critical, right? We need to make sure that what is the right way to move these things forward is very important. You cannot have the rigid governance model, right? Especially in the eras of digitals and AI. We really need to make sure that the governance model is adaptive, flexible, but at the same time cultivates the trust, which is very important, and also safety as well. That is very important. Oh, sorry. I hope actually I was actually talking. I wasn't saying this, but I hope this is what I was talking about. Right? Okay. So that is some of the lessons learned. So what are the common barriers based on that? Pilot trap, right? Failure to scale. I mentioned this earlier, that a lot of times we fail to scale. Yes. It was really good in the pilot stage, but it really did not go beyond the pilot. And I've seen, and I'm also, I have to attest to myself, I have to confess, maybe I should go to church and I have to confess, I did not do a good job doing this. I really wanted to scale, but it never happened. So that's very important, yes? You really need to think from the beginning. How can you make sure your pilot initiative, which seems to be very successful, can scale up to make the real impact? It's difficult, but you really need to think from the beginning how to scale when you start doing the POC. Another thing, unsustainable financial models, right? Especially nowadays, it's very difficult to rely on the national budget alone or the international development partners funding as well. Especially, it's very, very difficult, global sort of tensions and so on. The money is scarce, right? But I think we need to be creative. We can be very creative. How can we leverage different sort of financing models? See, we can actually combine all these financing models. We can be, frugal in a way and make a lot of differences. And the one good thing in digital or AI is relatively capital less incentive as compared to like many other infrastructures. But we need to make sure what kind of financing model that we need to come up with. Another thing, I think this attests to everyone here, is fragmented data and institutional silos, right? This is also something we need to incorporate the lesson learned. We need to incorporate these changes into the business process itself, right? We always want to go back to the old way of doing things because we're used to it. So I don't blame that. But if we actually incorporate this change management within our normal business processes, then we have a great chance of making sure this digital transformation is going to be successful. So this is very, very important. And all localizations as well. Some of the global example does not necessarily actually is useful unless we localize it. We actually have to understand the local context because otherwise the solutions is not going to work out. So this is some of the things, the barriers and some ways to overcome these barriers as well. So now comes to us, right? The role of development partners. How can you actually cooperate? Not only help, but cooperate, and then co-create together. I think that is the reason why the DOST asked me to be part of this ASTICON 2026. One of the things we could do is de-risking innovation, right? This is something that we can do. Sometimes innovation is very difficult, yes? They will not understand you, that this is very important things, but they say, oh, we don't have the resources to do it. Luckily, you have with the secretaries, he's very flexible, and he's giving you a lot of opportunity to explore, right? This, we can see it together, in the exhibition today as well. But that's not necessarily always the case. There where we can come in, where we can actually de-risk some of these innovations. And also building foundations as well. So not only the infrastructure part, the data system, digital infrastructure, computer access, and so on, but also the governance frameworks, interoperability frameworks, and so on and so forth, standards. So building foundation is something that we have global experiences, so we can work together. Because without this building foundations, we cannot go further, yes? And as I mentioned, strengthening capacities and institutions is another thing. JICA is all about human capacity building and institutional building. So this is something that I would say we are pretty good at, actually. Hopefully, as we have been doing this for 70+ years, yes. And also enabling scale and implementation paths as well. How can you actually transition from silos? Sometimes it's easier to actually have the international partners to come in to break the silos, right? Within actually in the national government, it's very difficult to break the silos, but please use us as a neutral partners, right? To make sure that, JICA is insisting on doing this, right? So making sure that you utilize us to break these silos so that we can scale and then we can implement together, right? And also, lastly, we have been doing this in other countries as well. So we accumulated both positive experiences, but also negative experiences as well. So coordinations, ecosystems, and knowledge from the global, especially Japan as well, of course, these knowledge can be utilized. Of course, it has to be contextualized, but it actually can be utilized as an asset for you to pursue. So that's a little bit about lessons learned from the 30 years of doing this. And let me actually talk a little bit about JICA's DX initiative. So as I mentioned earlier, JICA is not about infrastructures only. Yes, we're doing a lot of digital transformation projects. Yes, this is only the snapshot, and then Secretary, I can give you the, the presentations. But we're doing, this is actually a digital transformation project, but we do other digital ICT infrastructures and also space program as well. So this is the reason why Copernicus program and Gates program is also very, very important for us as well. And the purple ones is where the AI is. But we do other things as well. And then we are particularly happy about this climate resilience data exchange or Gates program is something that we'd like to make sure it's going to be a flagship initiative for us as well. Now, how do we actually see this digital transformation in JICA? We have the enterprise DX. This is more like, for example, power stations, water companies, and so on, where we have, or even metro, we do actually transportations in India, transport stack. So this is where the, actually, not the sector, but enterprise-specific digital transformations. But making sure that the data platform and data is a critical component as well. And then we have sectoral data transformations. So we have the forest, climate, the transport stack. These are some things that we also do. And then about a couple of years ago, we started focusing on AI as well. So why is AI important? Because we can make a huge impact on this digital public infrastructure that we're building, right? This data exchange, because AI is nothing without data, right? So you need to actually have the good foundational data exchange in order to work with AI. But at the same time, AI could enhance this digital public infrastructures or data exchange as well. It can clean up the data, it can actually functionality to the data, and so on and so forth. So we are saying, can we combine these two elements? And then we say, not necessarily only digital public infrastructure, but can we actually evolve into the digital public intelligence? So this is where the JICA's DX is trying to move ahead. So this is the GATES program. We are really honored and happy that, and we want to make sure this is going to be the flagship initiative that JICA's DX office is going to provide. So we are thinking to address some of the foundations, especially of the AI-based or AI-ready data set. And we've been actually supporting this in India as well. And then Mylene, and Asegrod, everybody's here in the rooms. You are a partner in crime. If we fail this, I cannot make sure, I cannot say that this is a flagship initiative that we did conduct in Philippines, especially I live in Philippines, right? I have to make sure this succeeds. But also the use case too. We want to see the use cases, some of the critical use cases. Why is that? Yes? Unless we show the tangible benefits, it's very difficult to convince people, right? Isn't it? Unless you show some goodies, what you can do with it, they will not be convinced. So we are going to really make sure that this use cases not only benefits the DOST and then also stakeholders, but we can show it to other departments. See what you can do with connecting the data and then coming up to use cases which actually makes the transitions and makes people's life better. I think that is something key. So we are really happy that we are actually initiating this DOST. And am I okay still with the time still? Okay, so thank you. So that was in the Philippines. If I didn't have time, I thought I would just finish there. But so this is some other initiatives that we have been talking about. So in India, we are working with the AI mission, government actually AI agencies, to come up with AI-ready data set platform called AI Kosh. And this is actually very innovative. As you may know, India actually have a great digital public infrastructures. Yes, they have a great IDs, and I think the ID system is, the Philippines is also adapting as well, called MOSIP. And also there is a payment system, unified payment infrastructures, and then they have great data exchange because they're connecting all the data to come up with different use cases. But now they say, can we clean up these data to be AI ready? See, because AI really needs a great and clean data, right? Because otherwise it's garbage in, garbage out. So they created this platform called AI Kosh, where different partner agencies and ministries provided the data and then cleaned up the data and made it readily available to anyone in India to come up with different use cases. So a lot of startups actually using this data set because it's a real-time or near real-time data set cleaned up and they can be utilized for the AI use cases. So this is very, very important for India to positioning themselves as AI powerhouse. And hopefully, I would like to see the GATES as well. It's going to be in the similar things. We're going to be starting with, of course, the public institution, but let's open up to the startups. Let's open up to the academia so that they could start creating new use cases. Innovation is going to happen from there. So this is what we're trying to do, and we're supporting India as well. And in Indonesia's, another ASEAN countries, we supported the AI action plan because they had a strategy, but they did not have the action plans. And then we supported them creation of AI action plan. And then following this, we are now starting the capacity building initiative. And then Vietnam, we did a little bit different. In Vietnam, we actually did it with AI skilling parts with the universities, but also with the innovation centers, National Innovation Center, which is tasked to create startups, to support the startups. So we did say, okay, in the one hand, we supported capacity buildings to feed to the industries. And then the startups AI-ready startups or AI companies could utilize this talent and then really supporting the incubations of these AI companies, and then also connecting to Japanese companies as well, and also Vietnamese companies, because they actually give the real-life sort of challenges to these startups which they solved. So these are sort of creations of a complete ecosystem in Vietnam. And hopefully, beyond GATE, we can embark on some of these kind of initiatives or even more innovative initiatives that we could also support. So GATE or the DOST partnership only the beginning. And we look forward for not only making sure this particular initiative is going to be successful, but much more innovative initiative in the future. So thank you so much. Maraming salamat po.